This is the first Saturday of the first month of this new year, a year which is full of mystery. Many people talk about the fact that it is the anniversary, the centenary of this invasion of earth by heaven in Fatima, with possibly the most powerful miracle that has ever been witnessed outside the resurrection itself, the sun moving and coming close to the earth. And what some people do not know is that actually it was less spectacular than what the Lord had projected. This was made known when the children were unjustly sequestered so as to stop it from happening. Humanity was refusing the grace at that point, not the children themselves, of course, but it was made known that actually it would have been more spectacular again had heaven been respected. So we can deflect some of the graces if we're not careful. We can be wiser than heaven. Many people, especially in the Western world, are much wiser than heaven. If one looks at the apparitions that happen in, for instance, third world countries like Africa, they are quite different in their reception. We look back and almost smile with the smile of reason at heaven, knowing far better. And yet, if heaven is doing things, there is a reason for it. These Saturdays of reparation are there for a reason. We also know that Our Lady did indicate that in the end her Immaculate Heart would triumph, but she did want explicitly that it be realized that it was the victory of her Immaculate Heart. Hence this insistence that the world, and indeed specifically Russia, which remember was a problem in 1917, be consecrated to that Immaculate Heart. Unexpectedly, there has been a reversal in things over the planet in recent years, and now we witness more public faith, I say public faith, in the ex-communist bloc of Russia and the satellites than in many a Western country now. If one looks around and opens one's ears, one can see that there is a lot of gagging of things with regard to freedom of speech in anything which pertains to an overreaction, it might be thought, to Islamic violence, whereas Christians and Catholics in particular are easy target, and there is no political defense. It is normal to, in some way, bring down those of one's own country and culture, whereas those coming in, perhaps to attack that culture, are actually defended by law. Look what is going on in places like Holland and Germany, France even, and in a way actually in parts of Britain. What is going on there? Well, heaven knows what's going on. Heaven can see. Heaven also knows how clever the enemy is. It is interesting to note that the lever used is the vestige of Christian culture. What I mean is this: tolerance, respect, politeness and courtesy, charity, and indeed turning the other cheek are all Christian values taken for granted in Christian society. And we observe that certain cultures are aware of it and are able to take advantage of it freely, especially when the cultures they're coming into use the basis of Christian culture to be extremely polite. We need to be careful. It is perhaps not just a succession of political and sociological events that we are witnessing, but actually something far more pernicious. Heaven knows, and heaven knows the danger. But I want to go into one specific area this morning. It's this. There's another area in which the enemy of the soul and of society is attacking, and it makes the angels weep. It's the question of the way that the gift of life, of which of course we think in the context of Bethlehem also, and of the Holy Innocents, is being thrown back. Now, I'm not just referring to abortion, but I'm referring to the free choice of many, many individuals, and I mean many, of all ages now, to throw back the gift of life themselves into the face of the one who gave it generously. Every week I have to do with some suicide, at least at a distance. And by now, the age average is fairly low. You may know of the case not far from here, of a lassie of, she was, I forget whether it was 13 or 14, I think she was not more than 14, who, under the influence of some suicide in the family, I believe already, took her life, or at least attempted to, but didn't quite succeed. They got her down, and now, 2 years and a half or so later, she is still in a hospital in Navan like a vegetable. She's alive, she has about 16 years of life lived, the last 2 of which are just there gazing at the ceiling, unable to communicate. Now this was the result of a free choice on the part of the person concerned. It is presumed now that because it's done so much, it is okay. Indeed, the message given indirectly is that. Because if nothing is said in school, if nothing is said at all in the work of catechizing people, adults and children, about the moral issue involved, then the norm will become a norm. It will be thought that one has the right to take away one's own life. Now we know that those who actually do succeed, but then are called back by medical skill, sometimes almost miraculously, will tell us that it's not quite so simple. They are then made fully aware of what they've done, and they also see what could have been. Young girls are made aware of the children they could have had and might even be shown them. All are given to understand and feel the pain of their dear ones left behind. And also they discover that nothing has been solved. The memory goes on, and the consequences of a bad end also go on. Now, this does concern us all, because we are going to be with people who might be actually on the point of doing it, and they might be sending out signals. I've come across more than one case, directly or indirectly, in which it's been a miraculous escape from that, from this happening. The decision has been taken, and somebody comes to the door without knowing it. And that is, as it happens, the intervention of God Himself through someone who actually is able to stop it. Now that could be us. We must listen. And also we must learn the gift of making life a quality adventure for those around us. Because one thing that leads to this is something that we can try to heal. It's loneliness of soul. Many people out there have no one that understands them, and modern life makes it all the more easy for that to be the situation. Why? If you look now at young people especially, but not just young people, they're not able freely to dialogue. It's safer to remain in the comfort zone of the smartphone, even when they're together. It means that in practice their friends are virtual friends, and virtual friends are not real friends. So this we can ask for at the beginning of this year, the gift of picking up what people are saying, the gift of being for somebody a consolation and a true friend. The gift of friendship makes of life something very precious. Its absence can lead to suicide. The suicide. An instant brought you home to your request. My parted brethren, ne'er to be recalled this time from saddened sorrow. Will's behest commanded and obeyed 'twas by appalled and knowing members whose own muzzled thought better. Ah, too late! The musings sweet of sages cold that know not what was fought between the first and last swell of birth's heat. Upon the edge of time, what did you feel? What did you know when its last notch had clicked? And would you then have half rewound its wheel? Just one half turn, a quarter. Were you pricked upon this little frontier of hid powers by something, some small thing that wielded